guys? Mickey, welcome. Ava, how are you? Ripples in Time, Tracy F. Southern Girl, I appreciate you being here so much. Because I know how hard you work. I know you're not here right now, but you'll come back. I know how hard you work around just your little farm there, and I understand that time is valuable, especially at night when you could be sleeping. I appreciate you all. Tracy F. I hope everybody. I was Tracy listening. All right, I'll yell. I was just sitting there going through trying to get my notes in order, and it ran. Hey, Deborah. Hey, watcher. It time slipped up on me. I tell you, I need to. I need someone. I need. Hey, Clancy, my love. Hey, Mama Cannoli. I need. I'm trying to get my daughter to be my assistant, but hey, Freeside. She's all like, I'm getting ready to graduate. Well, I don't care. Let me see if I can. Oh no, I don't need that. I'm gonna do this without my daughter's help. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Continue. Allow. I got a green mark. This is inciting. I didn't need her to come down here. We done? Hey! What, Mom, what are you doing? Melissa, welcome. Ocean, I love you guys so much. Yeah, I'm sitting here just losing track of time. All right, all right. I had to make sure I did that all right. I did it all right. Everybody doing good today? I hope so. It's right. Golden Beaver, how are you? We got really warm flash. I love. We got really nice the last 2 days, and now it's raining. But I'll take it. I'll take it. It's not minus 12 degrees still. But I'll tell you this: as soon as I went and got my this little bitty little heater. Hey Quinny, this is not a huge room. Rogue low. I said the day I bought the heater is the day it heated up, and I thought, oh, that's great, wonderful, absolutely. So I'm kind of excited about next week and doing Jack the Ripper. It's gonna be a lot of work because it's how many victims was there? Well, there wasn't like a whole lot of victims. But we'll go through. I think that's gonna be fun. I've had it. Well, say fun. I probably shouldn't say fun, right? But I thought I knew about the Boston Strangler. I thought it was just a K. Amen, Mama. I thought that Albert DeSalvo, confessed to all of them, and end of story. No, ma'am, and no, sir. That is not the end of the story at all. And I need to put a trigger warning out. Well, Flash, that's our good. Hey, Trump, bitch, how you doing? Well, Quinny, I'm sorry. Albert Salvo admitted. There's Tracy. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you I appreciate you. Hey, Mark, what are you doing? Do you know what we do over here, Mark? Do you know what I do? Every Saturday night, we go over a mystery or a murder mystery. It's one or the other. We've done, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Yuba Five, but the Yuba Five are 5 guys that went to a basketball game and ended up on the side of a mountain, and all of them died. Well, couldn't find a 5th one. That was a weird one. Or we do a murder mystery. They all have to be at least 20 years old because, as I say, everybody's doing new cases out the ass, so let's just do some old ones. Now I've started to do some of these that are famous, and this one is famous. And when we're done with this, as usual, we will be even more confused than when we started. So, yeah. Let me get my stuff here. And like I said, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. And I hope the great weekend ended a great week. And I hope you're looking forward to a great week coming. This is just our little club. No drama. No drama. No drama. We don't do drama. Let's see. And you know what's so funny, y'all? And y'all know because y'all are here. Midnight Baker, I love you so much. Thank you. I take all these notes, but if y'all know, hey, K9 Charlie, what you doing? Hey, all my favorite people are coming in. I take all these notes, and if y'all look, I barely refer to them when I'm going live. And it's not because I know them well. I guess it is because I know them well. Tonight, I will be referring to my notes because we do have 13 murders. Others were murdered during this time, but for some reason didn't fall into, hey, Halloween baby. Others were killed in this time that didn't fall into the Boston Strangler criteria. Also, if you have Hulu, I suggest you go and watch the movie. Is it called The Boston Strangler? It's got Keira Knightley in it. And Keira Knightley plays a journalist, true life journalist, who, when you were a woman back in the 60s, right, and you were a woman journalist, you covered flower shows, weddings, tea parties, and that was pretty much, that's all you got. But one woman started to connect. Wait a minute, here's a dead woman over here. Here's a dead woman. There's another one. And she goes to her editor. She's like, there's a string of murders here. He's like, oh, welcome, Mark. Welcome to the screening room. I appreciate that. She basically lets her paper know. And he lets her do a story on it. And then they bring in this other woman, kind of to help her. I don't know if it's to help her or not. They're pretty equal. And they had to go out into this. So way back then, the journalist and the police were buddies, right? They all went to the same bar. And because they all went to the same bar, and so the Keira Knightley's character, which is, I have it written down here somewhere, and I can't believe I can't remember it, kind of has to break through that and show up at these bars. Hey, Laura Lee has to start showing up at these bars and drinking it's a really great film. So, and it's on Hulu. So I suggest you watch it because it is, just because it's a good film. I mean, it doesn't really, it's pretty true. A Crazy Train, it's pretty true to life. So, and doesn't go overboard. So I gotta get my shit together, y'all. But I did make a key for my photos, so now I know where they are. Hey, I'm starting to learn. Y'all. All right, we'll start this off. Because oh my God, we're going to be here a minute. Y'all get comfortable. We're going to be here a minute. So let's start. I'm going to tell you about Albert DeSalvo quickly right now. You've seen what it was saying. Yeah, it's so Albert DeSalvo was born into shit. I mean, that's all I can tell you. His father was insane. And his father would go and get prostitutes, bring them home, and have sex with them in front of his wife and his children. The collector, welcome, had sex with them in front of the wife and the children. He abused the children. Albert's brother said that one time he grabbed little Albert up and picked him up off the ground by the throat, and his little feet are kicking. He took his wife's hands, their mother. He took the fingers and one by one broke every one of them in front of the children. So at some point, she did decide to leave him, and they never saw him again after that. But it turns out that his mom had a lot of issues that obviously right now we would know she would have to go to some kind of therapy. But back then in the 60s, 50s, no, that didn't happen. You sucked it up. So out of that, we get little Albert. Little Albert. Now, but he loved his mother. Let me just say that. He loved his mother. He loved his sisters. His relationship with women, hey, Plain Jane, wasn't what you would think. Keep that in your head for a second. Keep that in your head. So anyway, Albert went on to join the army. That didn't work out very well. He got dishonorable discharge. And then he came out. He did meet a woman in Germany. He married her. They had children. Hey, spark plug, Jackie Welton. All right, so he worked here and there and everywhere. He loved his wife. His daughter was born, their first child was born with a deformity. Something in her pelvis. I really don't know. Now, Albert had a huge sexual appetite. Huge. But his wife was so scared that if they had sex, she would get pregnant. Hey, Albert girl. Hey, Walter. She would get pregnant again, and it would be another child that had, special needs. So she didn't want to have sex with him. And I can't judge what that started and what it didn't start. I can't. So in Boston, in the 50s, mid-50s, late 50s, they had a man that everyone started calling the measuring man, because this man would go door to door or door to door in an apartment house. And if a woman answered, hey, clean team, I've watched your shit. Your shit got taken away today. My grandpa in the army with this dude, he wasn't a good guy. He wasn't a good guy. But so, all right, what the guy would do was say, I am an agent, right? And he'd have a measuring thing. And he'd go, if you want to be a model, I can measure you. And I'll write them down. And when I'll take them back to the office, and if it's what they need, they'll call you. So they let everybody that, let me stop. Everybody that they say that everybody that knew Albert DeSalvo, though, thought he was an okay guy. There was like so many people that I'm getting ready to tell you everything that he did in this little a period of time. It doesn't make any sense, but it happened. So he would fondle the women. He would very do the measurements and touch here and touch there and befuddle around, right? And these women were like, I think, when he left, they were like, I think that didn't sound right. Nobody ever called, no agent ever called either. He did this hundreds of times. So much so that he got picked up by the police. Hey, Rachel Love. Hey, Fairy. He got picked up by the police and he went on trial. And he had to serve like 18 months, but he got out in 11 months. Another weird thing was when they picked him up for that and they arrested him in front of his wife, he was mortified. Again, this is another male-female relationship where he was not abusive or sadistic. He loved his mother, his sisters, his daughter, his wife. So That stopped. And when he got out, thank you. I love Walter. Thank you, Walter. We had, so that was the measuring man. Well, then we've got the green man. Same area, Boston, the green man. And what the green man would do is he would break into an apartment. He said he broke into 400 apartments and he sexually assaulted 300 women. That came from when he got picked up for that. He went on a cop to it. He would admit to everything they would pick him up for. He did it in the Army. He'd get in trouble with something. He'd go, yeah, I did it. Well, he probably did do it, but anyway. Oh, Halloween, baby. Thank you. Alan, how are you, love? But while this green man was going on, and now I'm gonna tell you why he was called the green man. He would show up at the door in a green, uniform, like a super would wear, or and he would show up and say, "I need to come in." So, the super sent me or whatever, and they'd let him in, and he would rob them and rape them. Now, during this time, we had another problem start popping up in Boston. We had another problem. Hold on. This gets weirder and weirder, my loves. I'm going to tell you right now. It gets weirder and weirder. So at the same time that we had the green man, I'm sorry if I was covered up, I think. The same time we had the green man, the same time we had the measuring man, we had a man that was, I need to put up probably, if I have a mod, can y'all do like trigger warning? Because the next part of this is going to be disgusting. It's going to be bad. It's pretty bad. All right, and here's another weird thing about Albert DeSalvo. No matter what his brushes with the law were, he always kept a job. His jobs liked him. He was a great worker, liked the guy a lot. So somewhere between the Green Man and the Boston Strangler, which is what those ladies actually started calling it. Rachel, thank you for 8 months, my love. I love you. Oh, I love you spending it big too. Well, let's see. Hold on. Let me get my stuff together, y'all. We have a problem. Houston, we got a problem. We had a woman turned up dead. Her name was Anna Seltzer. Hey there, T-Pack. Love you, baby. And I'm going to bring up her photo. And we're going to talk all about her because here we go. All right, that is not Anna. Let's just take a look right now at all the women. These are all the women. Note the age. Note the ages. We have older women. And then we turn around and we get younger women in this 18-month period. And then we'll have the way y'all going to see how these crimes changed. And they shouldn't have. So should I have that bigger? All right, anyway. Hey, Lisa. So on June 14th in 1962, Anna Slesser, 55, her son came to pick her up. Here she is. She's 55 years old. And it's funny, I am 55 years old, and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, oh, my God. But I know 55 then and 59 now is very different. But anyway, she was a seamstress. She she lived and had just moved 2 weeks ago into her apartment in this building. She was on the 3rd floor up there, and she was laughing, yeah. And they were going to have a service there because there was some kind of massacre over there, and her son was going to take her to the church service. He didn't want to, mind you. No, I mean, he just didn't want to, but anyway, he did. So she got home from work, ate dinner, decided she had just enough time to start a bath, take a quick bath, and then, her son will pick her up. So her son shows up, and she's not answering the door, and he's getting pissed. And then he starts to remember, the last time I talked to her, she was very depressed. Oh, then he gets concerned, like, oh shit, she has hurt herself. And so he busts the door down. Now, in front of him, hey, mystery, in front of him, on the floor, laid his mother. I'm going to tell you what that meant. It's crazy. Welcome, Spark Plug Jack. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So he walks in. There she is. She is displayed. One leg over here, one leg over there. She's got the cord from her bathrobe around her neck so tightly that it made her ear bleed. Okay, and the bow was it was big and in a decorative type of way, like, you know what I'm saying. It was decorative, not just a knot. So, so she's displayed out there in the middle of the floor. Her son had to find her like this. And they do an exam, and obviously the cause of death is strangulation. Again, so tight. Thank you, Fairy. Thank you. The thing was tied so tight that it made her ear bleed. When they took her back to the coroner's office, they found out that she had been sexually assaulted by an object, and they couldn't find it. It wasn't in the apartment anywhere. So that's number one. Now, what the police decided was, forgot about this. Her entire apartment was ransacked. All right. There was not anything in that house that the man did not touch. He went through her garbage. But he didn't take anything. He took nothing. So the police decided, listen, this was a robbery. The guy saw her coming out of the bathroom with her robe on. He got excited. He, whatever he did, and that's it. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I guess. Now, I've got another one. And I'm not sure if this is supposed to even be on here. But we have Mary Mullen, who was 85 years old. Now, Anna was 55. Mary is not on the list as a victim. She lived at 1435 Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. She was found. However, she died of a heart attack. But her place was ransacked, right? There was no strangulation because she had a heart attack. The police said she literally was scared to death. There's no picture out there of her. I can show you her. I'll show you her apartment building. I always like to see these because that's where she lived there. I like to look at these because we can see hey, Sizzles, we can see how many, when we look at the apartment complexes, it's one on top of the other. It's not like a house out in the suburbs. You got people around you. Again, same with Anna and Mary, no forced entry at all. These women let him in. They let him in. There's a fact that is the only fact that stays true from the beginning of this to the end of it is the Boston Strangler never broke in to an apartment of a victim. And I don't know why, because after 4 victims, and we had the ladies, I can't remember. I can't believe I moved their name. McLaughlin. All right. They alerted. All right. We had a problem, and so, and police did warn women and to don't let anybody in. Don't. This guy got in every time, walked straight in. So how? Don't know. Yeah, so we had Mary. Now we're going to go on here to June 30th. And June 30th, thank you, I love you. June 30th was the big day because this guy struck twice that day. He struck twice. We have Helen Blake. Let me show you a picture of Helen. There is Helen. Helen was 65 years old. Let me get over here. We're good. And I got them backwards. Hold on. Hey. I might have gotten those backwards. All right, yeah. So I nobody else put Mary Mullins in there, but I do. Because I'll tell you this. Albert DeSalvo says, yeah, she died of a heart attack in my arms. No, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not doing that. So I'm going to make sure I got everything. I'm going to start reading my notes, people. Get used to it. All right. There we go. Making sure I got everything. $60 a month. Got her here, got her there. All right. We get Nina Nichols. Nina Nichols on June 30th. 68 years old. Let me show you Nina. That is Nina. Sorry. I always do this. Here's Nina. And Nina happened to live at 1940 Commonwealth. Whereas Mary lived at, I can't remember. So these were both on the same street, a few days apart. Like I said, June 30th was a big day for this guy. In that day, all right, so I'll go through Nina first. So Nina was murdered in her apartment. Apartment, again, was ransacked. Nothing was taken from Nina. Nothing was taken from Nina, just like the other ones. And this is, she was a retired sociotherapist. I don't even know what that does. But when they walked in to find her, she was found with her legs spread, her house coat and slip pulled up to her waist. The knot on her was so tight, both of her ears bled. So he always strangled them with their own nylons, is what he usually used, but cords to house coats or whatever. He did it with her 2 of her nylons, so he used 2. Her ears were bleeding. She was sexually assaulted as well, to the point of injury by a bottle that was left at the scene of the crime. All right. And 15 miles away on the exact same day, we had, I'll just put her back up here. I think I got them mixed up. We got her. She had a similar death. She died between 8 and 10 a.m. She was strangled with one of her nylons. Her brassiere had been looped around her neck, and under that, stockings tied in a pretty little bow. Uh, both this is horrible, but this is horrible because I want you to hear it. All right, her both her vagina and her anus had lacerations, but no sperm. All right, she was lying face down, nude on her bed with her legs spread apart. Now, no sperm has been found in any of these attacks. No, no, no. So that's going to change though, because I'm back over here. I'm sorry if I missed something. I'm sorry. I was over there. Her apartment again ransacked. Helen used to wear 2 diamond rings. She had 2 different diamond rings. You'll see in a second. Here's the thing, Sour Girls. We're never going to know this. Well, we might know it, but I don't think so. She always wore 2 diamond rings, and the killer took those 2 diamond rings off of her finger. That he also tried to get into a strong box and a foot locker, and he was unsuccessful. So that was June 30th, 1962. He got 2 women, 15 miles apart. So at this point, Police Commissioner Edmund McNamara was in a panic. He was in a real panic. This guy was running willy-nilly and somehow getting into these apartments. There ain't a whole lot of people that survived this, but there are a whole lot of people that were looking out their keyholes, finding out who was walking up and down the hallway. Now, but that's not going to help anything either. So these are the details too, if y'all will. In 1962, when these started to happen, they're not putting these details in the paper. I mean, I even wondered, do I use these details? But I say that because one of the real mysteries of this is, Southern Girl, I told you before, I know how hard you work, and I really appreciate that you take the time on Saturday nights when you could be sleeping with me and us. I really am. I want to thank y'all so much. I know you're tired. And that's all I say. Well, the thing with there are a few facts here. Like I said before, the one fact that's true is that he never broke into those apartments. I say he because I don't know who he is. And until 2013, we didn't know a lot. But I'll get to that in a minute. So they couldn't keep dogs in the pound. All right. Big, little, medium, it didn't matter. They couldn't keep dogs in the pound. They couldn't keep guns, in the damn hardware store and stuff like that. And they couldn't keep locks. And all these locks were going up. I love it, y'all. All these locks were going in. All these little yappy dogs. They didn't really care. Every time they get a dog in the pound, somebody come get it, which I guess was a good thing. Yeah, so the police commissioner is like, please. He's diverting detectives, away from whatever they're doing and putting it strictly on this. He's canceled all vacation for any policeman. So, I mean, he's taking it seriously. ALJ, we're not very far in, baby. We're not very far in. They did a full investigation of, hey, Evil Queen. They did a thorough investigation of all the known sex offenders and all the violent mental patients. And, and they actually had a little break. The guy took a break. The guy took a little break. Not a big one, but he took a little break. He took a little break. So on August 19th, 1962, we have Ida Erga, who was 75. I couldn't get an address for her. So I looked hard because they usually have them, but I couldn't find one for her. But she was 75. She was a retiring widow. Um, she was found 2 days after the crime. So, I mean, and that's not a lot, but in the summertime, it probably is a lot. She was in her apartment at 7 Grove Avenue in Boston. Hold on. 7. I want to say, why does I keep doing that? I know what I did. That's Ida right there. I've got beautiful Sophie way up here. All right, here's Ida right here, and here's her apartment at 7 Grove Avenue, in the West End, with a lot, like I said, with the other deaths. Again, no sign of a struggle, no sign of a break-in. Absolutely ransacked, gone through, and let me see. All right, so this is a detective described finding her, and I wrote this down because I can't imagine. So Sergeant James McDonald described how he found her. Quote: upon entering the apartment, the officers observed the body of Irga laying on her back in the living room, wearing a light brown nightdress, which was torn, completely exposing her body. There was a white pillowcase knotted tightly around her neck. Her legs were spread approximately 4 to 5 feet from heel to heel, and one of her legs was propped up. Oh no, I'm sorry. Both of her legs were propped up on 2 different chairs, like you would see at, like basically a gynecological exam. She was. That's the way he left her. The feet part, and there was a standard pillowcase used and placed over her butt, under her butt. So she had a pillowcase knotted, but the pillow itself was under her butt. It was alarming. So it was an alarming parody of an obstetricianal position, which faced the front door of the apartment and was the first thing anyone saw when coming through the entrance. Most of these details were all of these were withheld from the press. Again, I said that before. They're not going to tell the press this. Not at all. Not even a little bit. So she died from strangulation. There was dried blood covered her entire head, her mouth, and her ears. She too had been sexually tampered with no semen was present. Within 24 hours of Ida's murder, a 67-year-old woman named Jane Sullivan was killed in her apartment at 435 Colonial. I think that's the one I've had up by mistake. Look, I'm just going to put this on Sophie right now. She's the next victim. And this is Sophie is when things get awful quick, really quick. Oh, Southern girl, I love you. I appreciate you a lot. I really do. That means a lot to me. So we have Jane Sullivan found in her apartment on her knees. She was 67 years old. I mean, good God. So none of these women have been under 50. It's been 55, 85, 65, 68, 75, 67. The police found her on her knees in her bathtub with her feet under her butt, under the back of the tub. I really couldn't figure this out. She was found basically draped inside of the bathtub in water, and oh, thank you, Southern girl. I mean that. Yeah, she, like, her head was covered in the water and all that, and she had been in there a minute as well. All right, she'd been there like 10 days. She had been there 10 days. So they couldn't see if she had been, assaulted, but her fucking place had been ransacked. We get a 3-month break. Hello, hush. Boston gets a 3-month break. Nothing happens for 3 months. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, there was dancing in the street. However, on December 5th, 1962, Sophie Clark, 20 years old, who lived at, 315 Huntington Avenue. Now, she is beautiful. She is African American. All right, I'm only pointing this out because all of a sudden, the killer has changed a little bit. We got a little change in the usual. We got a younger woman. Also, Sophie had roommates. The other women didn't have roommates. She had roommates. What was he thinking? Anyway. Poor Sophie. She was sitting down to write her boyfriend a note. She was, like I said, she was in jail. I mean, she wasn't in jail. I'm sorry, what did I say that for? She was in school. This was only blocks away from the first victim's house, by the way. And I've got a thing. I'll pop up a map. So her roommates came in. She was laying nude with her legs spread wide apart in the living room, strangled by 3 of her own nylon stockings, which had been knotted and tied very tightly around her neck. Her half slip had also been tied around her neck. There was evidence of sexual assault, and semen was now present. Hey, Julie was now present on a rug near her. So we have a rapist. Well, are you going to call him a rapist? Yeah. You have somebody, let's say that, who was into attacking older women in the most horrific ways and making sure when he tied them up and posed them that not only they were degraded, but the person who found them. All right, so we've got somebody young. We've got African American, totally off the has roommates, and then again semen in the apartment. So I did some research, and I'll tell you where I got it from. Here, I love this book. This is the book, The Cases That Haunt Us, and it's John Douglas, and it's FBI agents, all right, who have written this. The problem with this book is it was printed in 2000. Yeah, the change is here. Exactly, Sour Girl. We've got somebody. There are like 4 different. Let me find it. There are 4 different kinds of rapists. And please, if this, I know that this is an uncomfortable subject, and obviously. All right, here we go. So you have 4 different types of it. You have a reassured. All right, so and this is from the FBI's National Center for Analysis of Violent Crimes. So there's 4 category of rapists. The power reassurist. He would be hey hippo and a power reassurance is someone who has very little self-esteem, and they want, oh really, Halloween baby. Yeah, this is a big trigger warning. But it's somebody basically with low self-esteem, and they make women have sex with them. All right. Then you have the exploitative rapist, exploitative. They go after a person. I'm not a certain type of people. It's that they don't like. They don't like people that live on the next road over here. They'll just go rape them all. Right. They don't like, black women. They'll rape them. If they don't like women with hair, remember Ted Bundy. If you had, a woman with light hair, you're fine. But if you're dark hair, no, they don't want to. They're going to rape you because they dislike you so much for something that's really not anything under your control. All right, then you have the anger rapist. Now we're getting into where people start getting into trouble. All right, the anger rapist. That's just what it means. He's angry. All right, about whatever. And the very worst one to run up against is the sadist rapist. So all of this time up here, we've had a sadist rapist. And I say that because he killed them. All right. So, he killed them. He killed them in a certain demeaning way. He made sure he demeaned them in any way, and he left. And that made him happy. All right. And he never let any body fluids there. He never, never assaulted them with himself. What else? I've been trying to think of, never left really anything behind that. So that's a sadist rapist. Now, in this book, and I suggest y'all read it because I'll plug the book later like it's mine. A rapist will generally not switch up his ideal target. All right. If they're all older women, that's his target. He's not going to consider going and, he's not going to consider that. This is his target. All right. He's not going to, him ransacking the house. That's another way that he is sadistically, because we don't know if they were alive when he ransacked the house or if they were dead. We know one thing, no one heard a peep out of these women. Nobody. And when we start going through towards the end of them, towards the end of this, people were really like seriously in there, hey Julie, in their little keyholes. So apparently it's very rare that a man will turn it around and go for something else. He damn sure wouldn't do it in 3 months unless something huge happened. Well, we know in Mr. DeSalvo's life, nothing happened. He was fine. Nothing changed. We don't know why he took a break. That was a pretty long break. Yeah, they don't change their MO ever. They don't. Apparently, from what this, if I want to go study this further, I just might. Honestly, just might. But here she, Oh, hold on, people. Hold on. Sophie was so gorgeous. Well, they all were. What am I talking about? But we have a break in the case, a little break in the case, okay? Sophie's neighbor actually possibly saw the strangler and was probably his first choice. I'm going to show you why. So when the police questioned Sophie's neighbor, she's Miss Marcella Luca, mentioned that around 2:30 that afternoon, a man knocked on her door and said that the super sent him this, super. He came and it was about repainting the apartment and whatnot. So here he comes with his green pants on. His green pants on and a dark shirt and jacket. And he walks around the apartment. He's, oh yeah, we're gonna have to fix this we have to fix this bathroom ceiling. And then he turns around to her and he says, you know what? Have you ever thought about being a model? And she was like, no. And then she put her finger like this and she said, shh, my husband is asleep. I don't want you to wake him up. The guy gets so angry. He gets angry. And he said, yeah, no, this was the wrong apartment anyway. And he stomps out. She was supposed to be that. She was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be. So he switched it up and went downstairs and got Sophie. But here's my thing. How does he know? Is he following these women around and watching? He wasn't following Sophie around, I don't think. But did he follow them around? Did he get their schedule, what they do, where they went? If he did that, okay, so he has a job and he has 2 children and a wife. And when is it, where's all this time? Did you staking out somebody? Because he pretty much knew. Yeah, so he left. Now, do you want to see, let me tell you, let me show you this. I'm going to show you Albert DeSalvo. I'm going to show you Alfred DeSalvo. Okay. Here's Alfred DeSalvo. Dark hair. Dark eyes. There he is. So she went to describe the man that came to her door. And she said the following. He was between 25 and 30. He was of average height with honey-colored hair, wearing a dark jacket and dark green pants. Well, I definitely know this case. I do. So Mr. DeSalvo does not have honey-colored hair. Average height, yeah, that's absolutely true. The dark jacket and the green pants, that's a recurring thing. That's over here with the green man. It's got the exact same outfit. And then you have these people in the hallways, trying to get into these apartments, and they're wearing the same thing. Now, I could go back and look to 1962 and see if the big fashion trend that year was, green pants and, a dark jacket. I mean, it might be, but I don't know. So, the building's true super said, no, I never, sent anybody into that building to do that. And it was also it was at 2:30 p.m. Which was the approximate time that Sophie was murdered. So it was all around this time. This is how short of it took. All right, that's for him to go to the wrong door, find him another victim, and be gone in that little bit amount of time. How did he do it? We will never know. We'll never know because, I will tell you this. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, we'll get there. All right. 3 weeks later. Oh no! I mean, there are 13 of these women. And I don't know how many of you were here for the Texas killing fields, and that one guy, the in the beginning of the of it when it was near Galveston, it was tons and tons and tons of young girls, all in like a little span in 1972, I believe. Here's with this is 1962, and it's kind of like splurged and whatnot. So here is Patricia Bassett. She was a secretary for a Boston engineering firm and was discovered on Monday, December 31st, 1962, when her boss became worried about her. So he basically came to pick her up from work and she didn't come to the door. Well, when she didn't show up at work at all, he came back to the building and he got somebody to help him go in through a window. And there she was. Again, they found her face up on the bed with the covers drawn up to her chin, looking like she was taking a nap. Underneath the covers, she lay there with several, tied a blouse. Sorry. With several stockings knotted and interwoven with a blouse tied tightly around her neck. There was no sign of recent sexual activity. She was, however, 4 weeks pregnant. There was damage to her rectum. The apartment had been, quote, searched, unquote. It's just getting worse and worse. So let me see. Where do I have her? Where have I tucked away Mary Brown? I don't know where I did, but so I'm just going to read it to you. Mary Brown of Lawrence. So this guy would go from around Boston, but he also go around Boston. He stuck. And let me show the damn thing. Let me show you. Here's the map. It's, he stuck to this area pretty good. He was very comfortable in that area. Yes, Tony Curtis did play him in a film, and I think they made that film in 1968. Yeah, he did. Here she is, bless her heart. So she had been. We have Mary Brown. All right, I'll tell you why nobody has Mary Brown. She was beaten and strangled and raped. But she's not listed with the strangler victims, and I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe because she was beaten. Maybe because she was actually physically raped by a man. You know what I'm saying? Like physically raped. I don't really know. But here we go with the next one. Here we go. Let's see. This is Wednesday, May 8th, 1963. Beverly Sammons. She was 23. She was a graduate student. She missed choir practice. She had missed choir practice. Okay. So they started to get worried. So let me go get her. So a friend of hers went to check on her and he had a key. And he used it to let himself in. And that is when he found her. And she was so pretty too. The moment he opened the door, she lay directly in front of him on a sofa bed, her legs spread apart, her hands tied behind her with one of her scarves. That's new. That's never happened. We've never had the hands tied. Just saying, that's new. She had 2 handkerchiefs and 1 pair of stockings knotted and tied around her neck in the decorative little, thing. It wasn't so. All right, the ligature around her neck wasn't tight enough to strangle her. So what he had to do was go get a knife, and he did. And he stabbed her 22 times, 4 times in the throat, 18 times around one of her breasts in a bullseye pattern. So it's pretty disgusting. And I wondered why would he stab her in the neck? Especially with her being a singer. Was she talking to him and saying, no, I'm a singer, and she was studying opera. She had an appointment to try out for the Met in New York, and maybe she was begging for her life. I imagine all these women were, but we've never heard that anybody made a single sound. So I couldn't tell you. So what the police surmised was that because she was training to be an opera singer, the muscles in her neck were so strong that he couldn't get the knife in there properly. I mean, he couldn't get the ligature tight enough because of the neck muscles, and so he stabbed her in the neck 4 times. So now we've got. So he's on his feet now, right? We know that he's been on. We know that he went to one apartment, and that was his target, and he decided that now I'm gonna go down here with Sophie. This, he couldn't strangle her. She wouldn't strangle her because her neck was so, powerful that he had to go get a knife. So at this point, the police were getting very desperate. Well, I'll put desperate. And they decided to get in touch with a man named Paul Gordon, who was a psychic. Well, not really a psychic, but he did have ESP, so he thought. And so they went to him and asked him to do a reading on this. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm saying this. But do you know, I think in every single one of our cases, I don't care when it was, psychics were either involved, utilized, showed up. They're always there. You gotta give it to the psychics out there. You gotta give it to the psychics. They work for that shit. So I'm just going to tell you, I can read you the whole thing, but all right. So he goes into this reading. He's going to try to see the man who killed Anna Slessors. Okay. So I could just see him. Here's what I picture. Johnny Carson with that big hat on, with the envelope to his shirt. So he said the man is fairly tall, bony hands, pale white skin, red bony knuckles. His eyes were hollow and set, which I don't know what that means, S-E-T. He was particularly struck by the man's eyes, actually, I got to tell you. So, there you are. His hair disturbed him a little bit. The psychic did not like the man's hair because the man had a curl that would keep falling onto his forehead, and he had the habit of pushing it back. So this disturbed the psychic. Said he had a tooth missing in the upper right front of his mouth. He was in a hospital or some kind of home. He was not confined though. And I know that because I see him walking across a wide expanse of lawn. And he can walk about, and he does a lot of sitting on a bench. I don't know. He just said set. His S-E-T. That's all he's... I thought, maybe I got a misprint here. Am I going completely dyslexic? And it said hollowed dash set, S-E-T. So hollow, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He said, now get this. This would never have occurred to me. The psychic said he has many problems. You think? I must be a psychic. There were 13 women altogether. There were some women, however, that weren't added to, like the Mary Mullins, because she died of a heart attack. But she was also scared to death. A person came in her home, And so I don't think they listed her as one, but I will, because if he was in your house and you died, I don't care if you tied me up in a little bow. Be on the list. So yeah, he said the man had some problems. That he used to beat his mother cruelly. We know that's not true. Also, let me see down here. He sleeps in cellars. He sleeps in cellars. And he likes to walk about the street watching women. wanting to get close as possible to them. Now, here's the weird thing. So the police brought a handful of photos for this psychic to look at. And the psychic said, here he is, right here. He pointed, right? He pointed to a photograph of Arnold Wallace. Wallace was 26 years old. He was a mental patient at the Boston State Hospital who had ground privileges, meaning he could walk around. A few days earlier, he had wandered away and was sleeping in basements of apartment buildings. He was violent, and he had beaten his mother up several times. So we also found out that Wallace had escaped 5 or 6 times over the past couple of years, and that all of those escapes coincided with some of the murders, not all of them. So that was just weird. So we have another quiet period for a little while, right? June, July, and August of 1963, no stranglings whatsoever. So, oh boy, it's a happy day. And happy day. Well, then on September 8th in 1963 in Salem, which is right near Boston, Evelyn Corbin, let me bring her up for you. Forgot I'm stuck. Get over here. Here's Evelyn Corbin. All right. She was found murdered on, like I said, September 8th. She'd been strangled with 2 of her own nylons. He always used her own. And if y'all remember, I guess maybe you don't. I don't remember, but back in the 60s like that, they didn't have, I don't think, pantyhose that you oh, really? Evil. Quick, really? I think it was individual nylons that would go up your leg, like a, what I'm saying? It wasn't like you pulled the pantyhose up like we have now. It was leg by leg. Hey, little dove, I'm doing Jack the Ripper next Saturday night. So write it down in all y'all's calendars. Yeah, so they found her. Now this is an odd one. She lay across her bed, face up and nude. Her underwear had been stuffed in her mouth as a gag. Oh, this is nasty, y'all. So this is a trigger warning. Around the bed were lipstick marked tissues that had traces of semen. So we all know when you do your, depending on what kind of lipstick you put on, and you get the tissue and you bite down on it. This is bad. What is it? Yeah, with garters. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So she was found with sperm that was found in her mouth, but none in her vagina. This is going to get worse. Hold on. I'm just going to let you know. Her locked apartment had been searched, so they don't call it ransacked. But apparently nothing was taken. A tray of jewelry was laying on the floor with her purse wide open, and nothing was taken. There was one really odd thing. On the fire escape was a fresh donut. And nobody in the apartment said, no, we did not put a fresh donut on the, we didn't put a fresh donut on the, so it had to be his. Is that how he was getting in? I don't know how. A master burglar was getting in there. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's a fresh donut on the fire escape outside of her window. Nobody can figure out where the hell it came from. All right, so we're coming to the last one right now. Well, second to the last. All right, so we have Joanne Graff. This is her, and then the last one, and then we'll start talking about suspects because somebody. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So you have Joanne Graff. She was on November 25th. The country was grieving the loss of President Kennedy. He had just been murdered. All right. So you think about it, the whole country was doing that. Almost probably the whole world were watching this, glued to their TV, watching this unfold. So she was very conservative. She was religious. She was an industrial designer at 23. She died shortly before the president. So that president was killed in the afternoon. So she was killed. I don't know. I don't do math. Okay. I don't do math. When they found her, she had 2 nylon stockings had been tied in an elaborate bow around her neck. There were teeth marks on her breast. The outside of her vagina was bloody and lacerated. At 3:25, the student that lived above Joanne heard footsteps outside of his hallway. So he was concerned and he looked out of the, I'm sorry, I'll read that in just a second. But he looked at a little peephole and he opened the door. The guy opened the door. All right. So you had this guy looking at the other guy outside in the hallway. He's acting weird. The guy outside asked if, asked if Joan Graff lived there. Joan, not Joanne, Joan. And the guy said, yeah, downstairs, you got the wrong floor. So he hears the man at the door. He hears the door open. He hears the door shut. And he doesn't hear anything else. Nothing. 10 minutes later, a friend phoned Joanne, and nobody answered the phone. So he's getting better and better, or worse and worse. I can't really decide. Tell you the truth. Our last one. Oh, and by the way, the guy described the man, 27, a pomade, a big 50s hairdo, dark shirt and jacket and green slacks. Uber, I love you very much. Well, you are excused. So this guy, these people, this person that everyone's seeing is wearing the same thing. Dark shirt, dark jacket, green slacks, as they call them. So there was a month later, on January 4th, 1964, 2 young women came home from work to their, oh shit. Somebody's got to help me on these. Hold on. Here she is. This is the last victim. So 44 Charles Street, they were stunned to find their new roommate, 19-year-old Mary Sullivan, murdered in the most grotesque and shocking fashion. Like the other victims, she'd been strangled, first with a dark stocking, and then over that was another pair of stockings, and then there was a silk scarf over that with a big, huge bow right up under her chin. And then over that was, I don't know how he fitted all this shit in her, another pink and white flowered scarf was tied, and under her leg that was posed, same as the other women, wide open so that whoever walked in the door could see them like that. There was a Happy New Year card that had been placed against her feet. So let's talk about, this is another trigger warning. Trigger warning, trigger warning. All right, so she was found sitting in the sitting position on the bed with her back against the headboard. Okay. A thick liquid that looked like semen was dripping from her mouth onto her exposed breasts. And a broomstick handle had been rammed 3.5 inches into her vagina. So, I don't know, and I would love to know, and I don't know if any rapist or anybody on earth can explain to me or anyone else how you think it's your place, not just kill her, but pose her and leave her in this way, like she was nothing. And I would love for one of them one day to say, write a book. Give somebody write a book. I know people have, yeah. That's why I'm saying this has been a long 2 weeks, because I always say that I spend time with the people when during the week I spend a lot of time with them. Yeah, humiliation, but I mean, and well, all of a sudden, I'll tell you this. All of a sudden, the Green Man, little rapist and burglar was caught, picked right up, and guess who it was? Albert DeSalvo, and he admitted to it. He confessed. Just throwing it out there that many county police officers. Yeah, see, Sour Girl, that's the Green Man killing. All right, so obviously he used that. You can kind of see him go from the Measuring Man, because he copped to that too, and then the Green Man, where upped the ante a lot, where he actually physically, attacked women, got into their homes, which is a rape in itself, in my opinion. When you get into somebody's space and safety. So we already knew that the Green Man wore the green pants. So when he went to, and I'll try to find the name of it, but it really doesn't matter. And I say it doesn't matter because he went to, back in Boston back then, when you did these little crimes that are insane, you went to a hospital for the criminally insane, and you were, observed. Now, while he was in there, while Albert DeSalvo was in there, before he had confessed to being the Boston Strangler, when he had only confessed to being the Green Man and the Measuring Man, he met a guy, great guy named Charlie Nassar. Now, Charlie Nassar was in there for 2 murders. Sorry. He was in there for 2 murders. He had an IQ off the charts. And he and Mr. DeSalvo spent a lot of time together. So, George Nassar's attorney was, perhaps you've heard of him, F. Lee Bailey. F. Lee Bailey was one of the most well-known defense attorneys in the country. And if you Google his name and you look at all the, people he represented, Maybe posting was just early cases. That's what I'm saying. This had, like, all right. So, Sour Girl, one doctor said that first murder, that first one, Miss Anna, that won't the first time he did that. You don't do that. You work up to it. You don't just start, boom, tying bows and getting a really specific, narrowed down, thing that you do. It takes time. And the police would have seen this over time, especially when he lived in the area. He hadn't moved there, you know what I'm saying? So the guy said that's not the guy's first kill. Now where are they? Don't know. I don't know where they are. Exactly. No telling how many more that because he had to perfect it. He did the bow. When I say a bow, like if you Google like Little Bo Peep, that big bow that's under her little bonnet, that's the kind of bow they mean. There were some photos of the crime scene that never showed the body. They would show an arm and I thought, you know what? These women have been through enough, and I don't think we need to see that. We get it. They're dead, you know? So I just chose not to pull them out. I just didn't think it wasn't necessary. When just describing what they went through is enough. All right, so George Nassar's attorney was F. Lee Bailey, and George and Albert were spending a lot of time together. They say that Albert DeSalvo almost had a photographic memory. But that he was very smart. He had a very good memory. So there was a 13 women. There was a reward, right? Now the killer himself couldn't have done it. He couldn't have, turned somebody in and gotten the money. So it is speculated that George Nassar called his defense attorney, F. Lee Bailey, fuck you, Bailey, that's what I call you, and said, listen, he needs money for his wife and his 2 kids. He's not ever going to be out of here. And this would assume that Nassar was the actual murderer, all right? And he told F. Lee Bailey, listen, let's load him up with information, all right? And let him confess. And we'll get the money, the reward money. We'll give him a little bit. And, we'll make some money off this. Apparently, F. Lee Bailey said, okay. So a lot of people at the time that those two were in the hospital, they were always together, huddled up. They were always huddled up, huddled up. So all of a sudden, Albert DeSalvo confessed. And when he did, they asked him details of every single crime scene. Now, he got some right. He got some wrong. One that he couldn't remember well was actually, I think, the last girl, which was Mary Sullivan. But he got, like I said, some right, some wrong. Well, as smart as Nassar was, and let me show you a picture of Nassar. I keep forgetting I have photographs. Okay, so here's Nassar. Let's put this little subject up. All right, there's Mr. Nassar. Dark hair, dark eyes. Kind of looks like, I don't know. They kind of look alike. I mean, I don't know if they do or don't. I think they do. I probably could have picked a better way to display them, but sorry. I was working on pictures all the way up until we went. I love you so much. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, isn't she great though? Little dove. I love my fairy. So yeah, he confessed. The doctor said he confesses to everything. Told the police, don't pay attention to him. He doesn't pay. He confesses to everything. He's a confessor. That's what he is. He likes to be in the limelight. He likes credit for stuff that he doesn't care if he did it or not. And the police still went running with it, right? So there was and I can tell you some of Mr. Nasser, the two murders. Now, he murdered one guy. Just I have to find that. Anyway, he murdered him in the street, whatever. He got put into the thing. He conned a doctor after I don't know how many years to let him out. The doctor let him out. He goes and kills a guy that owns this is what he does. He goes to at some point at a garage that a man owns, and there's a woman and her daughter sitting in a car, I guess waiting on something. He pulls out a gun, this Nasser guy, shoots the guy in his head, and keeps shooting. So I guess that doctor was wrong. He wasn't quite fixed. Yeah, so Mr. Nasser was, pretty cutthroat there himself. Yeah, that's where we are. There were a lot of different people that it could have been. And there's a guy named Charles Terry, and let me show you Charles Terry. Now, when I read some of Mr. Terry's, I don't know what you call it, a fetish or what. Here's F. Lee Bailey, you son of a bitch. All right, here is Charles. Yeah, little Charles right there, Charles Terry. So on June 3rd, 1958, 29-year-old Oakland native Patricia Wing was killed in a remote wooded area in Fairfield, Massachusetts. Allegedly after being picked up by a man with whom she was having an affair with. Well, I guess who that man was. Yeah, it's Charles Terry. And she was a lot older than him. On December 7th, 1962, a stewardess named Donna was strangled in her Keener, Louisiana home. Terry would tell New York investigators that he had been in New Orleans at this point, because he was already been picked up in New York. And then we have another one. This was in 1963. It was a 62-year-old woman named Zion. Well, shit, I had this right before. Anyway, her name was Zivona. She was a cancer survivor. Okay, she met this little ass. They decided to meet somewhere in New York City, and she was a victim of cancer. She'd had a lot of surgeries around her neck, and she wore a lot of scars. So apparently, Charles couldn't perform, and he was humiliated. So yeah, he took her scarf and killed her with it. Yeah. Tied it into a bow, actually, afterwards. After that, he sexually assaulted her with a liquor bottle. And put her in a very weird way to find her, and put a pear placed on her right leg. Why he put a pear on her left leg, we'll never know. Don't know. So that sounds kind of familiar right there. All right. So doctors and police were convinced that the Boston Strangler was not just one person. They were convinced. Doctors absolutely convinced. Because all of them, they started to change. And in the FBI book, they don't, it takes over time to change. It's not, oh, he took a 3-month break and now he's, killing young people. So they were convinced that it was actually a few people. So then my question was, well, how would they know what to wear? How would they all know to get into the apartment somehow and not, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I believe them that it's odd, but, unfortunately, Albert DeSalvo was murdered in 1965 in the hotel. Not the hotel, no, not the hotel, in the hospital. Somebody went into his room and stabbed him to death. They have never caught that person. That person was never named. So what does that mean? That means that every single person in all those women that were murdered, justice never came. We've seen this a lot in our mysteries. We see a lot when that these women, these kids, whatever, don't get their justice, because I don't know why police wouldn't have. I mean, DeSalvo went to jail and went to court on rape, just not the Boston Strangler rapes, on the Green Man rapes. So, I mean, so in 2013, the police were following around Albert DeSalvo's, thank you, Halloween baby, was following around his nephew, Albert DeSalvo's nephew. And the man threw away a water bottle. And the police went and got the water bottle. And they got a right DNA profile. They had some material from Mary Sullivan. They had a part of a blanket that had semen on it, and they had, I think it might have been, maybe it was just a blanket. I'm not really sure. And they had gotten a DNA pull from that. And when they looked at the nephew and they looked at the blanket, well, there was a very close match. So they ended up exhuming Albert DeSalvo. They took DNA from his femur and his, I think some of his teeth. And they did it, and it was a perfect match. Albert DeSalvo absolutely killed Mary Sullivan. Absolutely, with the sickest one there was, Albert DeSalvo was there. So what does that mean for the other 12? I mean, I don't know even if apparently there wouldn't be if they don't have material. I know with the first, older women, he didn't leave any material, if you know what I mean. It was only after Sophie, that he left material, So we're never going to know, or either we do know. I don't know. Do we know? Either we don't know or we do know. Either he did all of them, he only did the last one, or they all, I don't know. There may have been. It may, like I said, I don't know. I'm going to put the link out. This thing drives me crazy. Sometimes mysteries don't drive me crazy. I mean, it's just part, I kind of get used to it. This drives me crazy. Absolutely drives me nuts. Because, again, thank you, Evil Queen. I love you. When this book was written, when I told y'all to remember that this book was written in 2000, right? They didn't even pull the DNA from the nephew until 2012. And then after all that, in 2013, after they examined the body, found out it actually was him. Oh, okay, love. All right. We'll do another one. We need to collab. I love a collab. Yeah, so And I'll show you this book. And I got it at the Goodwill. I sure did get it at the Goodwill. But it's a good book. And I'll show, and we're actually been talking about these cases. We did Lizzie Borden. We're getting ready to do Jack the Ripper. The Boston Strangler's got it's probably like maybe 5-6 pages in this book. That's, they share, the Boston Strangler shares a chapter with the Black Dahlia. So, but it's got Joan Benet Ramsey, the Zodiac Killer, the Lindbergh kidnapping, and all the ones that they say that hung them because they got away. So that was, like I said, we'll do it going. Uber goober. We do it going. We don't do it going. So we had to wait 2 weeks, but there's your mystery, your Saturday Night Murder mystery. Again, when I told you, when we let you know all this information, you're still not going to know anything. You're still not going to have any effing idea. Did DeSalvo really do all of it? Or were the doctors right that no, he's not going to? Obviously, they were not right, because they said that there's no way the Green Man and the way he broke into places crudely and raped them crudely, 300 victims, and was not picked up. And I get that a lot of women, probably back then, especially, didn't report it. Oh, thank you, Southern girl. Hey, Suzanne. Yeah, so absolutely, Albert DeSalvo did the last one that was the most vicious and disgusting. Was Charles, what's his face, did the first one, the older ladies. I don't know. I don't know. DNA is changing a lot. Y'all know that, right? I mean, we've talked about that over here. DNA is a lot of DNA now is identifying the victims that are John Doe's, Jane Doe's. It's they're pulling DNA and going through Ancestry and 23andMe and all that, and finding out these family trees of murderers. And we've had a lot of things solved last year that were very old. Oh, thank y'all. I love y'all. Thank you so much. I thank y'all for coming, because like I said, I might be doing this by myself. I'd be here talking to myself. Anyway, so this didn't solve any. Well, it did. No, it solved Mary Sullivan, the little 19-year-old girl. All those women, but those girls especially, had everything and before them in life. And you look at their little faces, because I think if you're 20 years old, 20-some years old, to me, you're a kid. All right. Sorry. I mean, I'm giving you, I think it's a compliment. I mean, you're a kid, not in a disrespectful way at all. But just a kid. I mean, and those girls had everything. And then you had the women that were taken out and in their, older age, I won't say older age, in their, they'd worked all their lives, they'd raised their families, and this was supposed to be, chill. And it didn't end that way. It ended horribly. And I can't imagine how it ended for them. And I suppose a coroner there's probably notes on how, I don't know. I don't even know why. I don't know why I even want to know that, but I would. Well, you're welcome, Enlightened Rogue. Thank y'all for coming. And we're going to make a folder, and we're going to put him in the drawer. And then I'm going to start another. The Jack the Ripper. So me and Jack the Ripper are going to get real close this week. No, Sour Girl, you're brilliant. You're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Of course. All right, I'm going to run upstairs, and no, I probably won't. I'll probably stay in here and actually really, for real, start checking out the Jack the Ripper. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. So, I love you. I love you, Miss Fairy. Miss Fairy Meadows. I love you all. I love you all. Seriously. I'll see you next Saturday, Jack the Ripper. Let's all wear pajamas and get, you know, let's wear pajamas and drink wine. You wanna? you wanna? And just talk about this crazy bastard Jack the Ripper. Just a couple of people hanging out on Saturday night, drinking and talking about murderers. That's all. All we're doing. No, thank you guys. All right, I'm gonna go. I love you very much. Please have a safe night. Have a safe week. I am going to be doing a short show this week. Jody Hoosentroot and Trudy Appleby. It's going to happen this weekend. They're ready to go. I have no excuse why I haven't done them. I have no excuse. I will not even offer one. I will not even offer one. So this week I'll see you twice. Thank you. Wasn't that something, Halloween baby? I can believe that. Yes, PJs and hot tea. Listen, that's it. I'm gonna be wearing my PJs with the skull that I love that I got from Temu. Anyway, all right. I love you guys. I'll see you very soon. Thank you for all your support in every way. I cannot thank you enough. I really can't. Thank you.